Hi, my name is AOK and I like to make videos about anything that comes across my timeline. Sometimes that's politics, sometimes that's sports, and sometimes that's some random creator drama. And today it's creator drama mixed in with politics, and that is I'm going to be talking about some of the creators that don't like to get political but are all over the Epstein case. And I think that that's quite interesting. It delves into the mindset of some of these creators. Why didn't they talk about some more pressing issues? Why didn't they talk about some more destructive issues like, Gaza or things that are more consequential? Not saying that Epstein isn't consequential, but there are some issues that are even more pressing. So we'll get into that. If that's, the kind of thing that interests you, just stick around and we'll get right into it. The Department of Justice concluded its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, stating that there is no client list, no blackmail network, and confirming suicide as the cause of death. A stark reversal from years of public implication. Now, I think I just wanted to go over previous news, previous information that we've gone over Jeffrey Epstein. I think today I'm going to try to broaden the conversation to online creators. So I just wanted to give a quick recap of what has already gone on and what the situation is. And I think everybody already knows. If you're clicking this video, I think you're very familiar with the cover-up that was going on with Jeffrey Epstein. I think as I'm recording this video, and possibly by the time I post it, I think the news will already be dying down, and I think people are trying their best to not make it die down, because I think people are very, very, very much invested in this. But I think I want to try to broaden the conversation to try and find different angles to keep the story relevant. Sorry to interrupt what you were watching. I just wanted to remind you to like the video and subscribe. It goes an absolute long way. I only need a couple thousand subscribers to be able to do this full time. 3,000, 4,000 subscribers. I don't need that many views because of where I live. So just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. For you, it only takes a second, but for me, it makes all the difference. So I'll let you do that, and then, you can get back to this wonderful video that you were watching. Despite previously vowing to declassify Epstein-related files, Donald Trump now calls the case a Democratic scam, denounces his past supporters who still demand accountability, and has dismissed calls for a special prosecutor. So I've made a video of detailing the history of Jeffrey Epstein, but one very interesting thing I want to point out is, I think people have made this argument, but I want to repeat it again, is that, okay, first of all, Epstein died in 2019 when Donald Trump was president. Hillary Clinton was never in office. Barack Obama had been out of office for 3 years, and Joe Biden hadn't even been in office at the time that Epstein died. So if any presidential administration is responsible, if anybody is involved, it is only Donald Trump that could have been involved in the creation of an Epstein case. Only him. I guess the best you can do is maybe when Trump lost the election, almost 2 years, when he left office, almost 2 years after Epstein's death, then he had to hand over the files to the Joe Biden run administration, and then they put Trump's name in it. That's the only explanation that works. The idea that it was created by the Democrats who had been long gone by the time Epstein was convicted and was in prison. I mean, it's just silly. But like I said, I want to broaden the conversation. I just had to point that part out. Popular non-political creators like Most Critical, SomeOrdinaryGamers, and Coffeezilla have released commentary on Epstein, drawing massive views but minimal depth, with critics arguing the coverage avoids deeper intelligence-related implications. Yeah, of course. So, I think we have to also add Ludwig into this conversation. It's why do these creators only go? They go for this safe political angle, and I think I'm going to be a little bit more charitable to Coffeezilla, because Coffeezilla has been covering political shit as it relates to crimes, specifically financial crimes. And I think this one, he is a little bit within his wheelhouse because it is about crimes, but I think he's more interested in like the cover up and the responsibility of the presidential administration. But for Ludwig, Moist Critical, I'm not even going to talk about Mudaha. I'm never going to talk about Mudaha because Mudaha has been pressed on Palestine before and he's given like some very, very, very suspicious answers. But people like Moist Critical and Ludwig, I don't understand why they don't feel comfortable talking about. The only reason they don't talk about Gaza is because it's not like uniform, a guaranteed dub, because it's a contested issue. They like it's. I think Gaza is even more open and shut than the Epstein case, and I think it's even more important than the Epstein case. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you feel about Gaza. If you feel if Gaza to you is stopping the Zionist project, then I think that is more complicated than sex trafficking. But if Gaza is about stopping genocide, then I think that is much simpler than the Epstein case, and I think it's more important. I think if you're concerned that that young women, or I don't even think it's fair to call them young women. If you're concerned that young girls are being abused, then how do you feel about even younger boys and girls just being murdered? A much larger scale. Like I don't know how many victims Epstein has. I think I heard a number around 10,000. That is nothing in comparison to the hundreds of thousands of innocent people killed in Gaza. So I mean, which Moist Critical said, if you really cared about the victims, then you wouldn't care about the Zionists. And I think Moist Critical could have easily done a video about Palestine. Easily, he could have easily narrowed the conversation to the killing and spoke up about it, raised money for humanitarian aid. Easily done that. And he's only doing Epstein because there is a consensus. If there was a consensus around Gaza as well, he would have done that. And that's just, and I don't know how you can forgive that. I don't know how you can tolerate something like that. I think I was okay with it before, but that's because I didn't really like think too deeply about it. I was like, oh yeah, well, I mean, they don't really cover politics, and then this is just, this is kind of more of a cultural issue, so I think it's fine. But I get it if you don't cover like Trump's tariffs or maybe even ICE, because immigration has like some counter arguments. But at the very least, the basics of Gaza, of like, do not target innocent civilians. I think not speaking on that is unforgivable. And like I said, I'm not even going to talk about Mudaha because he has addressed Gaza directly and he has both sides it. And I just want to say, if you are if you speak up against genocide, that doesn't mean you support the actions of Hamas. And if you equivocate those, like, if you're forced to address, if you want to address Palestine and you equivocate both sides, then you are supporting the worst side. If you are speaking on the issue and you say, oh well, I don't like the killing of innocent civilians on both sides. Oh well, I don't like what Israel is doing, but also Hamas aren't great either. You are just empowering evil. You are just empowering the evil of the IDF, because nobody is asking you to have to defend Hamas. And again, I'm not even making an argument against the people that are like, oh, Hamas are freedom fighters, they were pushed to the wall in this situation. I don't particularly agree with that, but I'm not even arguing against them. I'm saying you don't have to hold that position to speak out against Israel. And then every time you speak out against Israel, if you have to couch it up with, oh, but what Hamas did is bad, you are empowering the weaker side, because the IDF has unquestionably done worse than Hamas. Their targeting of civilians is more direct. Their numbers are much bigger. They've killed a lot more. And there was the argument of the Asmongold made that if Hamas had the capabilities, they would do the same. They would do the same to Israel as well. And it's like, okay, well then we would stop. Then we would stop them then as well. We would ask the US to intervene and stop them as well too. But now, not only is the US not intervening to stop Israel, they are supporting Israel. The West is supporting Israel. And that's another facet about it, is that not only is the IDF the worst terrorist group, but also they are being supported by the West. So they are the worst side, and they are the side that you are more complicit in. That is why people criticize Israel more than they do Hamas. And also, if you notice, Hamas hasn't taken any military action in months, or probably years, probably since early 2024. I would have to fact check myself on that, but at least a long time. So I mean, any kind of false equivocation is just defense of Israel. That's my response to Mudaha. I think most critical on Ludwig. I think Ludwig even supported a Creators for Palestine fundraiser. He didn't participate, but he spent money. So he's in a different situation. I haven't heard anything about Moist Critical. And maybe I can even add like a small section for Atrioc, because Atrioc talks about politics and he goes out of his way to avoid Gaza. Like just a small mention of like, oh no, what Israel is doing is too far. Or just a small mention of like, there's just so many people being killed. Or just even speaking out against taxes being used for it. Like, even if you're going to be like, oh, I talk about only finances, okay, then the financial implications of giving Israel money to do evil, what about that? You know, it's fiscal responsibility, it's Doge. But then if it's billions of dollars to Israel, you know, oh, that's just part of the military. You know, the military is wasteful. It's just the military generally. And I don't think he has like completely been silent about it, but he goes out of his way to avoid talking about it. Talks about Iran, talks about, you know, so it's not like he's against talking about Israel. It's just Gaza, because he doesn't want to, because of the bullying that you get when you talk about Gaza, of like, oh, you support Hamas. And we just have to reject that. We just have to reject that being pro-genocide, being anti-genocide is being pro anybody else. We just don't want innocent people to die. That is the first step. Then if you're against the Zionist project or whatever, that is a completely separate position, which we can debate that separately. But first and foremost, innocent people being killed as part of a political project is unacceptable. That is the baseline. That is it. So, to round up, independent commentators emphasize long-standing theories that Epstein's network may have been used by intelligence agencies for blackmail, particularly pointing to Ghislaine Maxwell's family ties to Israel's spy operation, reigniting demands for deeper international investigation. And that's another thing I wanted to point out, is none of their commentary has any depth, because obviously they're not political commentators. They're just doing Epstein for views, you know. So they're just like, oh, let's talk about Epstein, let's get views. And that's it. That's why none of them are ever going to mention like ties to Israel, because they don't want to touch Israel. They don't actually care about taking a stand for victims. Or you know, maybe Epstein victims are better because, you know, they're Americans, so they're more important than the foreign Gazans. You know, maybe that's why. But you know, it doesn't have any depth. The criticism is that the extent to which they're talking is this is a cover-up from the Trump administration, and no mention of the fact that Epstein might be an Israeli spy, because I don't even know if any of these people know what Mossad is. That's Moist Critical and Ludwig. I'm not speaking to Coffeezilla, and I think Mudaha might, but you know, there's just no systemic, no kind of analysis, and that's the thing that frustrates me with all these with these like people that turn genocide into drama slop. It's so frustrating. And yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say. Hi, thanks for watching this video. Before you go, I just wanted to remind you to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed it and you want to see more. Like I said, it goes a long way for me and it only takes a second for you. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing.